Hello, everybody. My name is Stacy. Welcome to my channel, The Liminal Space, and welcome into my reading for this turn of the wheel for Ostara. So Ostara is a season tied to the spring equinox, and many cultures celebrate this very differently. I'm using the name and the energy tied around the wheel of the year. Sometimes this wheel of the year is called the Celtic wheel of the year, though not all of the names for these 8 holidays come from the Celtic names or stories. This one actually comes from the Germanic tribes, and it is based on their goddess, Ostara, who is a goddess of the spring. But, when the wheel of the year, this pagan wheel of the year, was thrown together with the names that we now think of them being, which is the holidays I celebrate, it's actually more of a neo-pagan revitalization of these older holidays. And so most of the names come from Irish, Welsh, Scottish, or even British names or ideas, deities, or stories. Ostara comes, like I said, more from the Germanic. I just heard this debate about it not being Scottish or not being Welsh, and I'm like, well, no, it's not. But we also want to remember, I think it's important to remember that tribes and therefore what they celebrated or the holidays or the deities that they worshipped traveled with them. And so we have the Picts that are in Scotland. We have energies that came from Germany, or the Germanic tribes, or what we think of as Germania, or at least what the Romans called it, which were the Angles and the Saxons, Germanic tribes that came and settled in Great Britain. So the names have a basis in the people that celebrated them. Anyway, I love Ostara. I love this idea of birth and renewal in the spring. Of course, everybody is looking forward to the spring. Winter can be tough. It can be long, especially, we're lucky we have supermarkets, even if they're ridiculously overpriced, where we can get food all year around. It wasn't like that before, hundreds of years ago. People really stored, in the fall, everything that they had raised in the summer season, and it lasted them all winter. And by spring, they were kind of out of supplies. And so this renewal of the season meant that, there was hope again, and hope springs eternal, right? That's what that phrase comes from, right? Hope springs eternal. And so this is also a holiday that some people say gave us the name for the Christian celebration of Easter, like that they perhaps borrowed or just took this name to bring in celebration tied to old ideas around a new religious concept, which was Christianity, new in many of these places. And I don't want to discuss religion. I just really want to discuss the energy of the season. So Ostara is celebrated at the spring equinox. And I love the equinoxes. It is when the world is in perfect balance. And I will tell you, it's kind of funny because there's nothing in our world that really feels in balance right now. Like if you look at the news, if you look at the weather, the weather has been weird. The news is troublesome and bothersome. And while it's nice to be somewhat informed about world events, it's also good not to focus too much on the things that are going on, because it just drags down our vibration. And what this planet needs and what we ourselves need is to raise our vibration. So surround yourself with happy stories, happy music, laughter, sunshine, if you can, wherever you're at. These things will help us raise our vibration. Anyway, I want to get into this reading. Let me light my candle so we can call in that energy of fire and creative spirit. I am a double fire sign. I'm a double Leo, and so I love me the fire. I also just really love the idea and energy of always calling in readings with flame. And I almost always do. Readings for myself, readings for other people. I really like to light a candle. It sets a mood, an ambiance, and it really does call in a different kind of energy. And there is something very creative about fire. something very dynamic about it. It can be both soothing and destructive, depending on how you use it or how it's used with you, for you, or against you. Anyway, so for this reading, we're going to do the same thing that we've been doing since what I consider the start of the beginning of the Wheel of the Year at Yule time, which is when I also feel like the Wheel of the Year ends. Like it's a never-ending cycle. Just as a wheel always rolls on, just as this planet continues to turn around itself on its own axis, even if that axis might be shifting somewhat, rotating around the sun in our solar system. Our solar system is moving at high speed through our galaxy and through the universe. Like everything is dynamic and in motion. But right now, I just want us to pause and enjoy this beautiful time when, even though we don't feel like we're in balance, this planet and her cycle is absolutely in balance. In balance with the sun, in balance with the solar system, and in balance with probably things that we don't even begin to understand. So let's enjoy this moment of balance. Of course, the days and nights are equal. I'm in the northern hemisphere, so we're looking at Ostara as being, the birth of spring. In the southern hemisphere, autumn is coming, and so they might celebrate differently, or they might celebrate this holiday as it is with its name. I'm not in the southern hemisphere. I really don't know people in the southern hemisphere, so I don't know quite how they celebrate. But anyways, we are looking at 5 cards and 5 energies. And one thing that I've liked to do for these readings is to call in a message from the elements for us. So we have a message from the element of earth, of water, of air, of fire, and of overall spirit, because spirit is the 5th element, and it is the element that ties everything together. So I'm looking at this Gateway Oracle deck by Denise Lynn. It is beautiful, and it's a new deck for me. I got it just in December for these readings for this Wheel of the Year. I was looking at something different and new deck-wise, and this one called to me. Also felt like it was really important as we moved from a 9-year into a 1-year. We are beginning a new cycle, and that is a major gateway for us all. So let's take a look at our cards. I'm going to move my candle up out of the way. This is our message from Earth. This is our message from water. This is our message from air. This is our message from fire, and this is our message from spirit. I'll line these up a little bit different because I am, borderline OCD about some things, and I want these to look nice. I'm going to read from the book. I do have the guidebook here, and as I said, this is a new deck for me, and I've been pulling for myself from it, but I haven't come across every card. Sorry about the light. Trying to get it to where you can see it, but it doesn't blind the cards. These cards are a little bit shiny, which is okay. They're sturdy, nice cards, but it does glare a little bit when the light shines on them. No worries. So I'm going to read intuitively from the messages here. I'm going to look at the book as well. So let's look at our message from the earth. Opening to love. My heart is open is the message here. And while this is a very watery scene, we have a ship sailing on the sea, but we have the energy of fire here. And this is somewhat of the Sacred Heart. You'll see that in different religious motifs, but my heart is open. And I think that the earth is telling us that we need to be open. We need to be open to the changes that are going on around us. Resistance doesn't usually pay off. I guess it depends on how or why you're resisting, but this world is changing. Our planet is changing, the cycles are changing, and if we resist too much, we're going to find ourselves, probably having a much bumpier ride than we could have if we just would have went with the flow a little bit. Like this ship, it's going with the flow. So the message here says, love is on the way. The more you're open to love, the more its sweet nectar can surge through your soul. From the love of others to the love of self, to the love of the Creator, to the love of this earth, love flows to you and through you. You are indeed a sacred vessel for love to flow through. Another thing I would just like to say is, if we, and it's hard sometimes, I know, because I'm a human on this bumpy ride as well. But if we can just show love and accept love, we would all be better off for it. So that is what our message is from Earth. Let us look at our message from water now. The message here is emerging into grace. I open my soul to grace. This is really a beautiful artwork. And honestly, I haven't pulled this card for myself. And so one of the ways I've been learning these cards is by only pulling them for myself. I'm not going through them and studying them and trying to memorize them. I'm just trying to learn them as they come to me with the message they have for me. And so I open my soul to grace. What a beautiful message. This is a very watery sign. We have water, obviously, here. We have somebody resting on a riverbank, just really serene and enjoying the moment, I think. So let's look at what this message says. But I think that water is also telling us here to be easy, because it's a bit bumpy out there in the world right now. So we ourselves might need to be the ones at ease with grace. And let's look at what the message here says. Again, the card meaning says, the card message is, I open my soul to grace. But the meaning is, all is well. You can relax and let go, for your path is divinely guided. Gifts from the Creator are pouring into your life. Gratitude abounds. The spirit of grace is softly unfolding in your life. So again, I think this is a card of acceptance of what is going on. And sometimes when water comes for us, that's what we have to do. We just have to accept it's the flow, it's the tide that comes and goes. It is the flow of a river or a stream. It comes and it surges sometimes, and then it's more gentle. But the best thing we can do is accept it and even find the beauty in the different surges and rise and falls of it. So another, I think, a card that's telling us just to really accept and be open to what's happening and to find serenity in it rather than fighting it. So let's take a look at our message from air here. We have breaking barriers. This is interesting. It says, I am expanding beyond limitations into joy and freedom. I don't know about where you're at, but where I'm at, it has been especially windy for days and days. And the wind turns off and on like a light switch. We could have no breeze, and then it's blowing 30 miles an hour with gusts 50, 60, 70. I mean, schoolhouses are losing roofs and trees are crashing down that have stood for 80 years. I mean, it's really interesting energy. March always feels a bit blustery. That's kind of how March is where I'm from, but this is almost telling us that this wind that's coming through us for this season is breaking barriers. And there are probably barriers that we didn't even know that we were up against. That's how I'm looking at this. And in this way, by breaking these barriers, we are expanding beyond limitations is what it says, which is a beautiful thing, because honestly, that feels like that's what's going on in the world. So the card meaning says, there are times to go with the flow, but now isn't one of them. Now is the time to break through the self-imposed barriers. Gather your inner forces and break free from whatever is holding you back. So I think, like the energy of air through wind, this is coming through to break barriers, to help us move forward. Now here it's telling us not to move with the flow. And honestly, maybe this emerging into grace isn't necessarily about moving with the flow, but just accepting the flow. Things are happening. The best thing that we can do is to remain positive, to remain joyful, even though sometimes it's difficult, and move forward with these changes that we're getting from the earth, from the universe, from those around us. Do not focus on the chaos. Focus on the beauty and the serenity in the moments around you. So let's take a look at the fire message. Trusting your intuition. This card came up, I feel like, one of our more recent readings. I don't know if it was 2 readings ago, like maybe for Yule season. Anyway, doesn't really matter. Trusting your intuition. My life is truly guided. Now, I love fire, as I mentioned, as an element. That's why I have the candles here. I'm very tied to it, but fire is an energy of creativity, of expansion, of putting things putting ideas, basically, ideas that come through the air or that element, putting things into action and making things happen. And this here card is telling us very specifically, trust your intuition and know that your life is truly guided. So let's take a look at what this overall message is. But again, this is another message that is really telling us to accept, trust, allow, and I think maybe that's the overall theme of this. We'll see what the spirit message is, but that the overall theme for this season is telling us, in spite of all the chaos and craziness that's happening around us, we need to stand with grace, with trust, with hope and love, and we'll weather this just fine. So I gotta get this card here. I'm loving also that this has a keyhole and we are looking through it to see something beautiful behind it. The card meaning says, listen with your heart and act on your instincts. Trust that you are being guided as the messages you are receiving are in your highest good. Follow the nudges from spirit. This is going to be different for every one of us because we all have different guidance and we all have different calling. We're all here for different reasons, you know, for different aspects of our soul or our soul's growth. So every one of us will be a little bit different or a lot bit different, but trust your instincts and know that you're being guided for a reason. And it might be a reason that you can't possibly understand right now, but it is probably part of something so deeply embedded into your soul or your soul's contract that it's just how you emerge and grow on your path. Let's take a look at spirit and see what the overall message is to us from the element of spirit. Soaring into joy. Childlike wonder fills my life. So this is, it's really a beautiful message from spirit, overall spirit. And spirit is the element that ties the other four elements together. And in many ways, if you look at the directions as well, spirit is the thing that ties the directions together as well. And it's a very air-light card here, but just because we've got balloons, she looks like she's floating in a beautiful sky. Childlike wonder fills my life. And actually, I think if we all accepted or express this in our daily life, just a childlike wonder in what is around us, we would feel a lot more of the serenity and beauty, and we would not feel the chaos and uncertainty that's going on in the world right now. I want to read what this card says, but I know the world is hard, and I'm not one of those people that believes in toxic positivity because that doesn't get you anywhere. Like, sometimes it's really hard to be positive. Life can be difficult. It can throw things at you that you're just like, screw you. I can't do this anymore. But then you find a way forward because there's always a way forward. Even if it's 3 or 4 side steps before you can move forward again, it's still motion. So, soaring with joy, the card meaning says celebrate and live life with glee. Clap your hands in delight. Be madcap and spontaneous. All is truly well. So, that's beautiful. Enjoy those moments around you. Enjoy the sunrise. Enjoy the sunset. Last night I had to go outside with the dog for the 3rd time, not knowing what she wanted to be out again for. But this time I walked out with her and really stood in the darkness. It was the new moon, or we're in the new moon phase. We're just ending it. But the new moon on a clear night is when you see the stars so brilliantly. And I just stood there and I looked at the night sky and I was suddenly realized how grateful I was that I was outside looking at that beautiful night sky. Orion is my favorite constellation. I could see it beautifully, plainly. Sirius behind it, the constellation of Taurus ahead of it. You could see the Pleiades so beautifully. Orion's belt was shimmering. Sirius is gorgeous. And then I looked around even further. I just kept walking out, and then you get away from the building and you get away from trees and you see even more of that beauty. And I really did feel like I was a kid again. Like the awe I had in the night sky, how magnificent and huge and beautiful it is, and how limitless it feels, because really it's ever expansive and it goes on and on and on and on, much farther than we could even possibly see or imagine. So, this is a really beautiful message, and I don't want to go on too much longer because I don't want to take up your time. But I do hope that you find something in this reading for this next season that's going to take us through, this turn of the wheel until we get to, well, the Beltane holiday, but around May 1st, which is the next the next turn in the wheel. Stand it in your power, but also accept yourself, that you're on a mission, that you have a path, and then allow wonder of everything around you to help you. When it feels bumpy, just say, I accept that this is part of my soul's path, and I'm going to find how I can make this the best possible thing or experience for myself and for those I care about around me. So I hope you all have a wonderful Ostara season. I hope you enjoy the spring equinox. If you're on the southern hemisphere, I hope you enjoy the equinox there, the autumnal equinox. It is a beautiful time of being in balance. And like I said, the world feels very chaotic right now, and not much feels like it's in balance in the world. But the planet is in balance. She's in balance with herself. She's in balance with the sun. She's in balance in the solar system. So just enjoy this moment. Okay, thank you so much. I would love to hear comments from you if you're interested in sharing what this reading means, or if there's one particular element or card that stood out to you. I hope you have a beautiful Ostara season. Again, my name is Stacy. My channel is The Liminal Space. Thank you for spending time with me. Bye-bye.